here we are again with you, Rich and Cece, and this one has been a bucket list item of mine for a while. Staying on the Queen Mary. This ship has a special connection to me. My grandfather actually went to war with the British Army, fighting against Rommel in the deserts of Africa. And when he deployed on board the Queen Mary when it was acting in its military role as the Grey Ghost. So I hope you enjoy this video, and let's start it off with a room tour. All right, so we are in room M036 on board Queen Mary here. Down this little hallway. So that's the original 1939 key lock entry system. And here's our stateroom, the King Bed Deluxe. So, check out the bathroom here with its mixture of modern and retro original features. So we got the tub, and then those there, those four, those would have been the original taps, you know, for the hot and cold water. And I believe it used to be fresh and salt water too, the choice, or whatever to run for your bath. Got the toilet, the sink. A lot of things seem to be original, you know, like these old doorknobs, perhaps. You know, this lock for the bathroom door. Light switch. Ye olde medicine cabinet. Ah, interesting. I believe this was Queen Mary or maybe Princess Anne's original hairdryer. Royalty nonetheless. We got a little workstation there. Stowing our bags there. There is the bed. There is Cece hiding. This television is not original, obviously. This television was from 1947, I believe. No, I'm just kidding. And we've got our desk area, some shelves. It's like the original kind of air conditioning vent system up here. The lights. That mirror, that mirror looks pretty old. Hey, look, there's me. Sure, I'm glad I'm wearing clothes doing this, stepping in front of the mirror.
Look, there is
chair. We got a porthole, the old original porthole with a view of nothing glamorous, just the parking lot. You can pay a little bit more and get a harbor view. We figured the only view we'd want really of the harbor is when we're out on the deck looking at it anyway, so don't need it in here. Looks like a desk. And then over here we have another mirror, and on the stand for the mirror we have Cece's ghost repellent station with her salt and the bright red color to ward off those evil spirits that may be in the room, because allegedly this ship is haunted. There's been some crazy stuff that's happened on board this thing. Well, here we are, finding ourselves at the back of the boat, the stern. I wonder how long he's been standing up there keeping watch. Hey, buddy, don't jump. Let's head down to the isolation ward. When lots of people are in a confined space, such as a ship, diseases tend to spread kind of quickly, so the isolation ward is back here somewhere. We'll find it. There we go. Isolation ward. You know, it's more spacious and more roomy than we had on the aircraft carrier.
Which one?
The isolation ward.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a back there.
Okay, there's the whole layout of the thing. Oh, look at that. I think that's where we were just sitting down.
I think so, that one there.
That's the second class isolation. The, I guess.
What is that there?
That's a rescue stretcher thing.
Oh.
We were trained how to use those in the Navy. They were all over the Navy ships to
pull?
well, yeah, put the person in there and then hook it up to the helicopter and they get you off the boat.
There you go, rescue. See.
Here's the people you need to look out for. These are the ones that died on board. They'll be the ones in our room tonight.
What is our room?
There you go. 436, that's our room.
No.
No, that's the voyage number. That was a nice breeze. In the event of a death at sea, the ship's doctor would take charge of the situation. If he could clearly identify the cause, he would fill out and sign the documents, and in many cases have the body embalmed while at sea. If he felt a more thorough autopsy was called for, the body would be landed to a hospital unembalmed. Well, a bit dark in there, but hopefully you can see the ropes. And then in the room next to us was the machinery that would retrieve the ropes when the boat was untied from the pier.
We will not go down there.
I wish we could, but it seems to be blocked off.
Yeah. That must be like the...
Well, it's probably going down to like engine rooms and stuff.
Machines.
Yeah. Down into the engine room we go. Queen Mary Chief Engineer Cece will point out all the important stuff. Gosh. Imagine working in here. Those catwalks, though. At some point, somebody knew every inch of every catwalk and how to get around down here.
Main engine condensers.
There's no arrows like the Iowa.
No.
That would be helpful.
Everywhere. Is it hot here?
Oh yeah,
It's working?
I would bet it would be. Horrible conditions, I would imagine.
How can people tolerate the hotness here? No, they have ACC. It's the AC fan.
Yeah, for us. Take us down, Cece.
It said the first intermediate pressure turbine.
Sounds like a jet engine. IP turbines, HP turbines. It turns.
Oh,
It's what generates rotation.
okay. How do people attach this together?
Good question.
What's inside in that thing?
That probably tell you. Main
wires.
gearing shafts.
Wires, I guess.
Gears.
Gears?
Like the sprockets on the back of your bike. Just bigger and stronger. You know that memorial we saw in Liverpool for the Titanic? That was actually the engine room people. That memorial's for the boiler people that stayed down here when all hell was breaking loose up there. And they kept the power running to the ship as long as possible.
Yeah.
And they all
Just
died.
drone,
That's your gear.
yeah. Not gear.
Where's the propeller?
Oh, yeah.
At the end of one of these shafts. Cece's scaring the ghost again. This must be a propeller shaft.
What?
Here. Wonder how far below the water we are now.
I know, right? Scary. This will be like the scariest part of the ship, the basement.
That explains why you're running out of here.
That's a propeller.
Yep.
That's huge.
Apparently this is fresh water. They built this box and filled it with fresh water so it wouldn't, because salt water would just corrode it, and over time it would just be destroyed. Yeah, you wouldn't really want to fall in there. Unless you can swim. Well, good news. We didn't need to be isolated for very long. We are in good health, and now we are going back outside to intermingle with the rest of the passengers on board. The veranda grill. Back up on the sun deck, which today is actually, we're going to refer to as the somewhat chilly and windy deck.
It's not a sun deck. Chilly deck.
As I exhale breath, my glasses fog up temporarily. It's kind of funny. So we're headed to the front of the boat now.
Yeah, look at the spot.
And if you're wondering why I call it a boat, that's because that's what we used to call big ships even when I was in the Navy. Even our aircraft carrier was a boat. I would guess that this here, well, pretty safe assumption, that must be where the lifeboats used to be held, right? And the numbers must be the lifeboat stations. So perhaps people had an assigned station they were supposed to go to based on where they were staying on the ship. And maybe if, you know, there was a problem and they said go to your lifeboat stations, if you were assigned number 10, I guess you came here.
Yeah.
I guess that's how it works. Maybe if we took the tour we'd find out for sure, but it's more fun to assume ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make up our own story.
Yep. We eat.
Let's go up. Bridge is up here. It's the port wing. Like, I guess if they were going into and out of ports and, you know, they needed to have unobstructed views of everything. See, they could see all the way down the length of the ship.
Yeah.
Let's check out the bridge. What we got here? Oh, there you go.
Phone system.
Controls all the watertight doors on the ship. Must be their flags. What do they call it? Semaphore? Autopilot.
They have auto. Oh yeah, they have.
That connects to the compass.
Okay. They have also like the auto.
Well, that's how autopilot works now.
Yeah. The airplane.
Planes and ships aren't that much different.
Mm.
Oh, locked.
Prohibited.
Chart room. Now they just have GPS. In the old days, they had paper maps.
Yeah. This was in a movie before.
Starboard wing. Same thing. Unobstructed view all the way down the side of the ship. Located close to his master's quarters. And there's his bunk. Not bad. Cunard White Star monogrammed bedding.
Maybe I can borrow the jacket.
Yeah, you can borrow one of the jackets if you're
Because I'm
cold.
cold. Maybe the jacket.
Captain's bedroom. Paneled in maple and mahogany and off limits to all except the captain's steward who kept it ship shape.
That's cute.
You'd think his bed would be bigger. It looks kind of small, really.
That's big already.
Oh, that's all their ranks. A first officer.
Huh?
Second. Junior. See, the junior, he didn't even get any stripes on his sleeve. This
Oh,
guy's
yeah.
this guy's a peon.
What's that?
The red ensign or red dusters worn by British merchant ships is an identification of their registry. The blue ensign is worn to identify a merchant ship whose captain is an officer in the Royal Naval Reserve.
Ah.
Okay, interesting. Staff captain, second in command.
Staff captain.
Well, I certainly hope this big window wasn't here when he needed to use his toilet. That'd be kind of awkward.
Did you read that? This is where the captain would entertain all high rollers.
See, looks just like the bathroom in ours.
Yeah, indeed. Maybe they really designed like that for the toilets.
Chief engineer.
Chief engineer office. Or home.
A little bit of both, I would imagine. Chief and engineer responsible for the ship's mechanical condition, overall maintenance, and seaworthiness. No pressure. Little room himself.
Yeah.
Oh, he left his Vaseline over there in the bathroom. Should have cleaned that up. It's pretty glamorous looking. The old elevator bay or elevator well, whatever you would call it. Oh, we found our way up to the bow now. Doesn't look very sleek like a modern cruise ship, does it? But who cares? This thing was fast. Fastest ship in the world at the time.
Okay.
So when this thing was doing its duty as the Great Ghost, hauling military around during World War II, a few of these guns were installed just in case, for defense. When war was declared in '39, British Admiralty began to consider how best to use the Queen Mary for the war. After some debate, which included the strong possibility of conversion into an aircraft carrier, it was decided that because of her size and speed, she was best suited as a troop carrier. So there were 5 40mm guns. Despite the readiness of the Queen Mary's crew, she never encountered enemy action by air or by sea and never had cause to fire the guns in anger. Wow. I wonder what's in there. Let's find out. Oh. Lubrication instructions. Add 5 drops of Navy symbol 2110 or 3050 every 3 months. Okay. Lubrication for this, I guess. When the gun was going up and down and around and around.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I have to buy one of these.
Queen Mary?
Cece's favorite place on board, the shop.
There's some here with the lady thing.
Very nice. Soap. These are cool.
Oh, look at the teacup.
Here's the smokestack.
Don't put it in my face. That's cute. It's a shot glass. You wanna get?
Well, after an exhausting afternoon shopping and trying our hand at Irish dance, okay, we didn't do that, but it looked fun. We decided it was time to have a nice dinner, so we treated ourselves to an anniversary dinner on board at the Chelsea seafood restaurant. It was quite good. We then stopped by the Queen Mary game room and played some games. I think we were doing this thing right. It's pretty interesting in there. And it's right outside the observation bar. So, of course, we decided to end the evening with a drink. So this is the observation bar. Beautiful. So Cece went with the pina colada, and I went with the Grey Ghost Old Fashioned. The Grey Ghost in honor of my grandfather, who went to war on this ship when it was, well, acting as the Grey Ghost.
You don't wanna. That's good. It's like the best colada I've ever had.
I decided it is time for a little midnight stroll through the hallways. Not surprisingly, Cece didn't want to come. The hallways are just so long, like endless. And here's the display of the sister ships, the Queen Elizabeths. And this would be the Travel Bureau. It says here the original cabin class Travel Bureaus. It was remodeled after World War II. The desks and chairs are those that were aboard when the ship sailed to Long Beach. Original desktop accessories and copies of brochures have been placed to show what would have been found when a passenger wished to make further travel arrangements. So that's it. Authentic. Old typewriter. A 1950s laptop. I'm gonna keep walking the halls. The carpet's pretty cool. It's like a flower motif and then a fish. Can you see that? Interesting. So I've probably mentioned it a few times on the video now, how kind of surreal this is for me, because my grandfather was on this ship when it was configured as a troop carrier, known as the Grey Ghost. So I just wonder, did he walk down these hallways? Did he touch this handrail to steady himself in heavy seas? Who knows, It's just kind of interesting to think about that. Well, we finally reached the end of the hallway for where our staterooms are on M deck. What do we have in here? Is it open? No. but a very, very large open space. Looking to see if there's something that tells me what that is. But maybe I can check on the map later. Originally the second-class main lounge featuring Dancing Through the Ages, etched glass artwork by Margot Gilbert. Provided passengers a place to read and enjoy recorded music. Ship's public address system allowed live performances from first class to be broadcast here to the third-class lounge. Cool. The people that bought the cheap seats still got to enjoy the entertainment from first class. It was just piped in through the sound system. All right. Headed down. Look at the artwork on those windows. It's like an old horse and buggy carriage. Just more staterooms this way. On the A deck now. Must be where a fire extinguisher used to be, maybe. Another open space, maybe for entertaining, not sure. A deck at the back. I'll check the map later. Well, unfortunately, you can't go into the swimming pool room anymore. First class swimming pool. But it's in there. And I guess there's some structural issues you can't go in. Well, self-explanatory what that says. B deck, starboard and port. Just keeps going and going and going. Now we're on B deck headed forward. This is interesting paperwork about somebody that died on board. Shortly after 4 a.m. ship's time on Sunday, 10 July. On examination, he was apparently dead. Marks of a crushing injury on his arms, chest, and pelvis. And there's the death certificate from the coroner after the inquest. Oh, and check that out. This is a propeller box exhibit has fascinated visitors through years since 1971. Though not aware, the only ones who enjoy this marvel, this photo here features a tour group enjoying the exhibit while blissfully unaware of the gentleman looking on in their company. The figure you see behind the man in the white shirt was not present when the photo was taken. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, there's kind of a shadow of a person back there. Spooky. So 2 people allegedly died in that room, B340, a gentleman in 1948. That's when they say the hauntings began, and then there was a brutal murder there in the 1960s too. So you can book that room if you want to have, you know, a ghost-like experience. But that concludes our video for the Queen Mary. Really appreciate you tagging along with us on the video here. And a special shout out to Cece on staying in the hotel with me because she's a little bit scared of ghosts and she toughed it out like a trooper. Anyway, hope you'll stick with us for our next video. We've got some more action on a Cunard ship coming up later this summer. So until then, be kind to one another. See you on the next video. Bye.